Welcome back to another episode of the Radiant Thoughts Podcast. It's your favorite host in the building, your boy KP, and we back with another episode, man. Today, got my boy in here, one of my good friends, my brother, Laury in the building. What's going on with you, my guy?
How you doing?
Pretty good, man. We've been trying to get this interview for a minute. One of the first people I ever reached out to do
first clip.
Do the podcast. So, man, I'm glad we can finally get this done, man. But what's good, man? What's going on? What's new with you, man?
Working a work from home job right now. Living my best life, honestly. I got a lot of free time, so I can kind of like cater into the other parts of my life that I value spending time towards. So, working out, the freedom to do that whenever I want to. I be cooking a lot more. Definitely trying to stop eating out as much.
Man, you and
food
me both.
Be killing you. And really just actually having downtime. You know, like that phase from 22 to kind of like 24, 25 was like, all right, I'm out of college. Got to make it. So then with all of that, you know, it was a lot of stress. Like I had high blood pressure for like a year and a half type.
That's crazy. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So then I just kind of like, after I got the new job, kind of just like changed my pace of life, and then everything back to normal. So,
that's what's
you know, that job really can do you in if you let it.
If you let it,
but
for
you
sure.
chasing the bag, so.
Man. But man, I kind of want to go back though, because I've been knowing you since I was in middle school. And so
sixth grade.
Since
fifth.
I think I was in sixth. You was in eighth. Okay, maybe. Either
same time.
But yeah, around that same time. So we go a little ways back, and then, you know, we obviously hooped together in high school.
Facts.
And then end up going to college together, which even strengthened, you know, the friendship for sure, because I just went in there, like I knew you was there, but I just went there. I didn't even no other option really, for real. So and then, you know, like you said, the bond just got strengthened since we've been there. But just going back to being in high school with you, it was one thing I kind of always noticed, and that I always like took from you, because I seen how you moved, and I feel like we kind of moved in similar ways.
Definitely.
And did similar, like thought the same. And so just, you always was one person that you didn't cheat nothing. You always finished the grind, whatever we had to do. I always recall the one story of us being in the weight room, like my 10th grade year on varsity. Nobody took the weight room as serious as they should have been. And he was the only person. Like, everybody else be in the gym. They like, man, where's Zach at? And he's still in there finishing the workout, because ain't no way none of us got through that workout in the time that we had.
He gave us a full little military plan. Like it had like 10 exercises, like 3 sets of 10, 3 sets of 15, changing the weight and stuff like that. It was like a little strength and conditioning program. He was trying to really put us on some league stuff.
Shout out to SEALs.
Yeah. And then people doing like they favorite 3-4 exercises, talking the whole time, and then going to get shots up so they be ready. So then when we doing drills, your shot already on, you're shooting good, like you feeling right. And then I'm in there just like, I also cared about the just like health in general at that point. You know what I'm saying? Fat boy turned smaller. So I was just like I know the effects that this is gonna bring for me later type. So it's like, it was nothing to finish the workout even, and then I couldn't be a snitch. That was the biggest thing. It's like, how do I do the right thing and also not make it look like nobody else doing the wrong thing? Right. So then I go with the whole thing of, okay, now do I admit that there's reasons for this happening?
Then finishing the workout.
Right. Or do I just take it to the chin because I don't need a congratulations for doing what I'm supposed to do?
What you're supposed to do, absolutely.
Yeah.
So just even from then though, I noticed that once we got to college, for myself, I remember you worked at the front desk, and so when I came in for PT, I knew you were going PT. Yeah. So I know.
Crazy idea. I don't know what led us there. It was just like all we liked was sports.
Absolutely.
And then it just sounded just physical. It just sounded like, you know.
That was literally my explanation. I tell people, I'm like, it kept me close to sports.
Exactly.
I figured it would have kept me close to sports, so I went that route.
Yeah, so we had the same train of thinking even with that.
Yeah. So just even being on campus and having, you know, somebody that I've grew up with there with me, I know I've always had you as a resource, And so I wanted to say I appreciate you for always being that resource back then, because a lot of stuff that I was dealing with in school, I'm like, all right, I know Zach went through these classes. Let me go holler at Zach, because I know your mindset was always on the right path when it came to getting through school, because that was the only option. You know? So when it came to that, what led you to cultivate that type of mindset to just get the job done all the time?
Well, I would say I've been thinking about this all day for real. Really trying to think about how I was going to dissect it. But it first started from the desire of just wanting to be of value, of worth.
Okay.
Just as a human being, first and foremost, everybody just want to feel like they provide something, beneficial to those around them. So it was like, well, you can't provide anything if you're not anything. Like your net worth will never exceed your self-worth. That bar that people be saying. So it's like, as a little kid, I was always the one who wanted to be the line leader. Okay. Like I'm always like, we're doing like rocket math and stuff like that. I'm racing. Yeah. AR book tests. I'm trying to be the first one. So it's like, it's like, just like from a child, it's like my favorite thing was just like trying to show like, okay, like I'm helpful. Like I can do this. Like I can provide what's required of me.
Right.
So yeah, that just started early on as a kid. Just like I want to have some like reason like why I'm worth it to do that task. And then from there, you can't have follow through without discipline.
Absolutely.
So then it's like I came from a very traditional household where my dad was like, do what I say. There was no other option.
No
like there's no talking back. There's no going behind him to my mom to try to get like an easier out or anything like that. It was like everything was kind of always just redirected to him. Right. And then he was just such a, he seen the bigger picture from the beginning. Okay. I'm saying? He already had like 6 or 7 kids that he's raised, grandkids he's helped raise. So by the time that I come around the baby boy finally, it's like, we're not really going to give you much extra decision-making power in a lot of these things because we already know we already know what we're making you into. So it's like, I kind of was just bred to just get it done, just do what needs to be done. Like, don't expect no congratulations for it. I bring an all-A report card home. He looking at it, he like, well, you got an A- in social studies. And I'm thinking like, dang, I just like got an all-A. Like, what I'm saying? Like, let's go. But it was just kind of like, it wasn't that he wasn't trying to celebrate me, but he was just trying to let me know like, this is the standard. It's the standard that you need to uphold. If you know that this is the standard, you'll never fall below it. But if I tell you like, congratulations, like this is a big deal, it's not really anticipated. You're exceeding expectation, but now you're putting expectation just at a higher level.
Right. Absolutely. So even with that, just the discipline portion of it, man, I feel like discipline is something that a lot of us in our community lack big 100%. Time. And so when it comes to discipline, I always look at it like
budgeting.
Yeah, like it's anything. It can be in any area. If you don't have the discipline to push yourself to whatever level you're trying to get to, you'll never get there, or whatever said thing you want won't ever happen, because discipline is like
the catalyst for all of that. It's like what's going to propel you forward to that set goal. Absolutely. Besides the idea and the dreaming that you have that you put towards it.
For sure. And what you brought up follow through, and I feel like that's something that I've always seen that you had. Like whenever you put your mind to something, it was like I'm finna go through with it. So like, where did that like come from though? Did that come from just being young like that with your pops and stuff, or?
It was just, I've always been big on the idea of family too. Okay. Like just, in Saginaw, I feel like a lot of families just have, not even just in Saginaw, just in like low income, just African American communities at large. The family unit is so diluted. Like, like there's not really like a straight foundation structure. Right.
A lot of broken homes.
Exactly. The qualities of just being a great man, a great woman aren't necessarily being translated or passed down because there's been like gaps in that because of economical situations or whatever has plagued the community. But it's just like my experience as somebody born in like the early 2000s, I'm like, I be hearing about how great it was in the 1950s for like the black family, like before, mass incarceration and everything like that. And so I was just kind of like, I always wanted to just be that definition of a man. Like from real early, it's just like, man, like I'm infatuated with it because it's like I don't really know too many role model men, in my personal life, in my personal surroundings, somebody that I'm really looking up to that's really giving game. So it's like I gotta be the man that I always wanted in my life.
Absolutely. So with that though, like how did you even know to become that though? Because if a lot of times with us, if you don't see it, if you don't know it's possible, we don't even think to go gravitate towards certain areas. So how do you even like frame your mindset to like, nah, this is what I want to be?
I guess really just like the self-awareness or the acquisition of knowledge that I was really trying to pursue, because like my life dynamic was so crazy because it's like I went to Bridgeport my whole life. So now people have to be like, "Oh, you a Bridgeport nigga?"
Absolutely. You know how many times I got that?
Yeah, it's just like you a Bridgeport nigga, and it's like I lived on South Park Street my whole life. Like I lived on the same street as Central. Right. My whole life. Everybody who went to Central is the people that I'm seeing after when I get off school, when I'm walking to Longfellow to go to Boys and Girls Club. Right. It's like, so I'm seeing the shift in perspective between going to Longfellow after school, hanging out with my friends that go to Central, going to Bridgeport in the morning, you know what I'm saying, before the BV shift, before a lot of things. So it's like, their dynamics were a lot different out there originally before those kids ended up going, White Flight to Bertrand and Frankie Wolf. And then now they even getting pushed out further because black kids are not going there.
Absolutely.
Me seeing just like kind of like their families was a lot different. Like, you know what I'm saying? I seen just like, mom and pops coming to pick them up from school and everything like that at their little sporting events and stuff like that. And then I'm just like, man, like I want that really bad. Now I'm seeing this on TV, you know what I'm saying? My wife and kids, you seeing all the little sitcoms and stuff like that. So I'm just kind of just like I'm seeing my community and the lack of role models. Right. So then now I'm fishing for those in other places. Uncle Phil, everybody love Uncle Phil. So it's like, really any medium that I could get that perception of what it is. Will Smith, he been going out real sad. Like it's been a lot of trauma behind, for sure. But it's like, you were really him for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Denzel Washington. It's like, like y'all are staples in the black community because we don't really have too many. So it's like, you don't know your impact. You just being a star on this screen. Like, I'm watching your mannerisms, how you walk, how you talk, how you act and stuff like that, how you treat the people around you. And I'm just trying to evoke that same kind of, feeling in consideration. Right. So,
and I think nowadays though, like when you bring up sitcoms and stuff, a lot of us, like nowadays, all we got is like the reality shows and stuff.
Exactly, and it's not even reality.
Yeah, it's not even reality. So we don't even have that access to see like the Uncle Phil's or the Bernie Mac show or like
the Bernie Mac show. People. Exactly.
And so, like, cause I always hear, like, my mom was she watched the Cosby Show a lot, and so she's seen.
It's controversial now.
Yeah, she see how it was then. And it's like there's none of that no more. So they don't show, black families or like how you raise people with principles and stuff like that.
Blackish came out, and that's kind of tough. But that's like the closest thing that's been to that.
And to where nowadays all people do is follow,
imitate,
and the stuff that doesn't help us, because all we seeing is keeping up with the Kardashians. Like it's those type of sitcoms and shows now to where it drags us away from even having those principles and standards,
like code of ethics,
to become something that's greater than what we are. And I think that's a huge problem that I notice in our, culture nowadays. Which I speak on it a lot, and it's something that I dislike tremendously because I feel like it doesn't lead us nowhere. It doesn't get us in the areas that we need to be, economically or politically or anything. Like it keeps us at the bottom of the barrel, and nobody realizes it. And then by the time people do realize it, it's damn near too late for us to even like
climb out the hole that
make a change. Yeah. And so, but I feel like there's always ways to get us back on track. But it's like, how do we even go about doing that?
And that's why I like respect your podcast so much. You know, when I do tap into it, because it's like even the name, like Radiant Thought. It's like, you know, you see the image of like you just trying to provide positivity, you know, to an underserved community, trying to give game to people who may not have had that readily accessible to them. And that's really what it's about. I think really just giving more access to those things. Like I rep Saginaw so hard.
Oh, yeah,
like
tough.
When you leave Saginaw, bro, when you leave Saginaw, you go to these other cities, you go to these other places. You have a pride for Saginaw that you probably didn't even have the whole time when you was here. Like I didn't even know I wrote for Saginaw this hard until I had to go defend it other places. But yeah, it's just like it's really just having the resources readily available. Facebook got Saginaw in the chokehold. Like I ain't gonna lie. Like Saginaw Facebook is the funniest, most toxic, most just like reality TV enjoyable.
Absolutely.
Like,
Every Sunday.
Everything that you need to see, you need to know what the weather like, you need to know where the police at, you need to know current events, sports, whatever kind of game you need about Saginaw, you can go on Facebook, you can find it in 5 minutes. And it's just like the city's so small, so you can do that. But other places, like they don't even use Facebook anymore. That's literally just like a us thing.
Man, I got to Oakland and I pulled up Facebook. We was all chilling there. I don't know who door we was in. We all chilling. I pulled up Facebook.
What is that?
You on Facebook?
I only get to know my mama on there.
Yeah, I'm like, dang, y'all don't use Facebook?
Talking about that's all we use.
That's
y'all don't say bug,
man.
We say bug still, like.
And I think that's what got me off of Facebook as much. I be on Instagram and Twitter now because that's where
the globally that's where the
masses are.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. But it's like I can always get that dose of home if I go log on Facebook for 5 minutes. Toxic stuff or just like. The right thing isn't always the popular thing, and that's the biggest thing. That's the difficulty with media. That's trying to even create a platform like this. Right now, it's like you fighting the uphill battle the whole time because it's like people are looking for the soundbite. People are looking for the funny thing or the cruel thing, or they're looking for the easy come up. They're looking for the get rich quick scheme. They're always looking for the instant gratification. And then the harsh reality that everything that you want is on the other side of the difficult challenges that you're going to face. But everybody is coming to media outlets for escapism. Like they're trying to get out of their life, trying to get out of their head. They're trying to find something else to feel
something that's entertaining.
Yeah,
and I think
because life is cruel, so you know, so they're trying to escape that. So they're just trying to find something that's gonna make them happy. Whether that's that dopamine on that phone, whatever it is, that like, you know, the drama that they just started up by saying this comment, whatever it could be, is just like that's that little dose of excitement that they get. But that quick gratification is removing you from all of the benefits that come with consistency, that come with enduring those things, that come with actively pushing and fighting through, taking that challenge head on. That's where greatness lies. And then some people just not ready for that sacrifice. Yeah. Because it's a sacrifice too.
It's for sure. And the episode this will come out next Sunday, but today's episode is actually sacrificing for the now. That's the name of the episode. And so it's like
go watch the episode right now.
Yeah, go tap into that episode right now, man. Leave a comment, like all that good stuff, man. Let me know what you think about it. But it's like we talked about that, and it's just like you said, that dopamine hit, and it's kind of like coffee or caffeine or whatever they say. You know, you ingest this, and then but later you're gonna crash, and so it's like you get that instant hit of dopamine every time you open the app or listen to something that's toxic or whatever. But when they're looking for that instant gratification, they don't realize that if they're looking for something that keeps them happy and they keep going here for it, as opposed to getting through whatever you're trying to hide from and getting to the other side, and just you'll be happy, like way more happy, I feel like. And so, but that comes with, you know, going through those challenges, meeting them head on. And a lot of people don't do that. So like even with, you know, the caffeine or whatever, people that don't want to go to sleep and get good quality sleep, they just, I'm gonna just wake up, drink some coffee.
Find a shortcut.
And yeah, just trying to always find shortcuts to happiness. And there's literally like no shortcuts. You gotta go through the challenges, the tough times, all the, you know, the hardships to get to, you know, happiness on the other end. Yeah. And no, go ahead.
I mean, like I was gonna say, like there's so many examples. So it's like some of the things that made me the most resilient that I am, like how I am now, like losing my pops freshman year, losing my sister in 5th grade. It's like resiliency. Like nobody really likes death, but it's like You have to go through it. You have to understand how to grieve, and then you have to understand how to find a positive in it and keep going. Some people crash out right there because they kind of just like, there's just no reason for anything and nothing's making sense. And why do good things if bad things are going to happen anyway? And it's like, if bad things are going to happen anyway, the best way to overcome it is by doing everything positive in your power.
Absolutely.
So it's like, it's a perspective thing, and people will choose to take the perspective that is simplistic, but not necessarily what's best for them.
Absolutely.
So it's like, you got to be willing to fight that.
And I always speak on like perspective and having certain perspectives towards, changing your perspective towards certain things, and just having a majority of us have the half empty mindset.
100%.
And we never, there's no optimism in our community. And now I understand it, because when you see so much negative and you never see things change, I can understand why you always resort to that. But I think deep down, everybody knows there's something like better than the life we live in Saginaw, or the things that we go through in Saginaw. But they just, like you said, even with this podcast, it ain't the most popular thing to talk about.
Exactly.
And so it's not popular to do, the thing that
financial literacy, mental health.
It's not looked at as like, oh, that's the cool thing. And that's what I wanted to do.
It ain't lit.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do with this podcast. And I'm like, you got to realize that that's actually the lit stuff. Like, this stuff, because I said it in the episode today, like, we're adults way longer than we're kids. All this stuff that we do now and deal with now is all kid shit, in my opinion. And so this has to end somewhere, because when we're 50, 60 years old trying to figure out how we gonna retire, and we can't retire, then what, so, or even just getting your health together, getting your life right. Like, I think everybody wants to be a great individual, but it's challenging. And I think people are scared to go through whatever they might go through to get to, that other side. And that's what stops most people are doing it. Like, the fear of, I don't know what, like, the fear of unknown. Like, I don't know what I'm going to go through. I don't know what traumas I might face that's going to come up to where it's going to make me uncomfortable. And I don't like being uncomfortable, but you got to get uncomfortable to get back comfortable, in my opinion. That's how I,
to grow.
Yeah, my view on life, because nothing changes when you just sitting in comfort.
Yeah.
It just, to me, it makes you more weak, in my opinion. So I think it's important that we have like these talks or these conversations, and let other people, know or have talks with everybody, to where it's important to see that this stuff is important to talk about, and to where we can grow and be able to grow as community people, all that good stuff. So like, it's hard, and I think it's been a process, because like you said, it's like you're fighting an uphill battle. And so even with this podcast, I don't see I might not see the viewership I want, or like all the people that's really tuned in. Like, if I have something that might be a little controversial, they might tune in.
If somebody was making a crazy claim, you had some ass shaking or something.
Oh yeah, they'd be all over.
They'd be all over it. Even if the thumbnail just had like a traditionally attractive woman on there, they eating that up.
They eating that up, and so like it's been. I'm like, dang, how do I get it to a point to where it's digestible for people to actually see it and like take heed to it, like the putting the medicine in the candy jar type of thing. And it's just kind of like how you go about really doing that. And truthfully, it's difficult. And so I can see why it's so hard. So hard for people to get out of, the mindsets that they in.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I give people all the grace in the world, but like, I don't really believe in excuses.
Absolutely.
And it's like, that's really the biggest thing for me. It's like, I don't hold anybody to the standards that I hold myself to. So with that, it's like, you're going to very quickly see, if you be around me long enough, just like the standards that I hold myself to. And basically, what I might have an issue with your thought process or what you do, but I don't vocalize it to you because I'm giving you grace. But it's like, that same situation I wouldn't have gave myself out on.
Right.
That day that I didn't want to go to work, I'm not letting myself not go to work. That vacation that I wanted to go on, that would have been fun, I'm not letting myself do that. That car that I could have bought that would have been lit, I decided not to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, every single time, it's like, I'm not my personal happiness that day is not the number one thing on my agenda. My stability for years to come is always going to be first and foremost, because 3 things that I feel like people, if they kept in mind, like things to be better. 1, nobody coming to save you. And once you realize that, I knew that from day one. I was like, one day I'm going to grow up, I'm going to turn 18, and then what? Nobody I know has really amounted to much. Nobody has really like left. Nobody has really even had the ability to reach back and pull the next person up, because everybody was still trying to figure it out themselves. Right. Everybody that I've ever met. So it's like me seeing all of those anti-examples, I'm like, I got to get going. Nobody coming to save me. Nobody saved none of them. Nobody saved none of the people before me. So how can I expect to do the same things that everybody in my environment is doing and get somewhere different? Right. That's insanity.
Absolutely.
So it's like from the first moment, it's like nobody like math. I like math. Nobody like reading. My dad forced me to do book reports. Nobody writes in cursive anymore because they stopped making it mandatory. I still write in cursive to this day. Like, nobody want to finish the workout. I'm going to do the workout. And getting cussed out about it. Nobody want to fucking rebound. Nobody want to pass the ball. I'm going to do both of those things. Like literally whatever is going to make this the most successful or efficient thing over my happiness is what's getting selected every time. So then it's like, how can I lose if I'm making the right decision? So it's like, I don't necessarily know what the path is going to be. The path has not been linear, but everybody in my life has always been able to say, man, Zach, you out here doing it, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, despite all odds, you know, I don't know what I thought of you, but you're exceeding expectation. Absolutely. Type shit. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? Even for me, perspective, I'm like, if this is my trajectory, like I'm right here, like I'm still like at the bottom, like I haven't done anything worth notoriety or accomplishment or success. Like none of the dreams I have come to fruition yet. Right. But for some people, it's like, well, sure, you keep a roof over your head, you keep a car, you keep a job, like you're doing it. And that's like, that's not life. Like there's so much more to it. But once you open your head up and you understand that you've just gone, all the excuses gonna go out the door.
And I start operating like that, just like a no excuse policy for myself. And once you really tap into that, you really change who you become, like drastically, because you don't limit yourself to the things that you used to. You know, you don't stop in the areas that you used to. You start to transcend, you know, where you are, and that's key for sure.
And when has an excuse really worked? Like how many times have you told somebody even the truth of a situation that didn't lead to the outcome that they wanted. And there wasn't some kind of repercussion negatively for it. So it's like, you mess up at work, it's a consequence for it. You mess up at home, it's a consequence for it. So it's like, you never really had it out, but sometimes you just convince yourself like, oh, well, it's like, you're just taking a different punishment, but there's going to be one regardless. Right, like you got to just, if you just do it, this is the best way to avoid anything if you just do the right thing the first time.
For sure. Now, you spoke on, you know, your trajectory, you know, and how your stuff's been going for you. What have you learned? Like, what things have you picked up, lessons that you learned during your situations? Have you, since we've been since even while we were in college and since college and beyond, like what are some things that you took that other people probably are going through, you know, now?
Like the biggest thing that I would definitely impart is simple one is played out. It's not what you know, it's who you know. I have good people in your life and treat them well, and you know they will treat you well. Right. You don't know who has observed your effort or your discipline or whatever. You don't know who is making that recommendation, who's writing that scholarship recommendation for you, who's that referral for that job. You don't know who's going to be that. So it's like, that is the biggest thing in the world, because you can have all the talent in the world, and if you have no platform, you'll never arrive. Absolutely. So that'll be the biggest thing. Everything is intentional. I couldn't even think about being in high school. You took all them classes, you never really thought, you ain't never really think about, man, the ACT or the SAT coming up, and I'm gonna have to apply this later. So everything that you learned, you never try to commit to your long-term memory, because you never truly thought of the bigger picture of what was to come. But then if you would have knew that, like the rest of life is like that. Right. You are a direct reflection of what you've done 3 to 5 years ago. Every bad decision, every good decision, you today, that's the reward for the work that you put in. So if you didn't put in 3 to 5 years ago, that's why you're in the position that you're in.
Right.
Even if you've had a million setbacks, there's other people who've also had a million setbacks, and they're in a different position than you because of the one thing that they can control is their effort.
Right, for sure.
In that activity. And
that's kind of what you just talked about is kind of like the delayed gratification. We don't see the I said it before, we don't see the fruits of our labor until down the line. Like we're putting in this work now, but
you're moving on faith.
Yeah. You really don't know where it might take you, but you doing it just like, I know it's gonna take me somewhere.
I know where it's not gonna take me if I don't try. So then it's like you miss all the shots that you don't take.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Kobe Bryant is like one of my favorite people. Like not necessarily even a basketball player, but just like his attitude, his detail, his just perspective, his intentionality with each day is like, sports fan or not, it's just like the demeanor of this person. It's like, I feel like you could see something in this person. Like that's a great character trait to have.
Right.
And a lot of those things are the things that I feel like it takes to be a great man, that it takes to be a great husband, that it takes to be a key contributing member to society, what it takes to be successful in what area of media, career, trade that you might be in. It's like the recipe to success don't change with time. It's just like our perception on what we want to do to acquire it be a lot different. And sometimes you don't want to do what it takes to do it. Like you really want to be I don't know. I was about to say you want to be a gamer. You really just want to be a gamer, and that's what you just stuck on. It's like maybe your path to success ain't that.
Right.
But it's like, are you willing to sacrifice for the long term goal? So.
And most people aren't.
Yeah.
And that sacrifice, man, like you said before, I'm not gonna take this vacation, I'm not gonna go buy this, car, I'm not gonna buy this shoes, is frowned upon for us. Like I know my dad kind of was like that. He wanted to save his money. My mom was like, no, we're gonna put them in this, which I appreciated. But like I understand now my dad's perspective of it, because it's
once you get to manhood and you really know what they had to go through, you just be like, hey,
I understand.
That's on your back all day, that boulder.
And and we don't really, like I said, we just dodge it. We try to just go through life and not really even focus on the stuff that we truly need to focus on to get by. So it's crazy when you think about it, for real. And I don't understand how people go through life and not really and just disregard that, like in general, just disregard the stuff that will help to become, like, make you become better, or just in any aspect of life. Like we really just go out here and we know what we should be doing, and we just completely do the opposite because it might be what we've seen, but I think somebody said, like, you not knowing is not an excuse for you not to do what you need to do. Like, because
how did somebody else learn to do that? Because they suck out the information.
Exactly.
So then that's where it's like, they said, if you want to hide something from a nigga, put it in a book.
In a book. When
I first heard that, I probably had to be like 7. From that point, it was just kind of like my personal vendetta. Like, I need to be literate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got my granddad from the South. My granddad, 97.
Okay.
Can't read. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I think about that, like, I'm second generation literate person. Like, granddad couldn't read, mom could read. Now, college graduate, all this other stuff. It's like, this line very, very recently ago was not capable of this task. So it's just like, like, knowledge is power. And then people don't realize that as a kid, it's just, nobody likes school. But for the people who make not liking school an excuse, it's like, what made you think that the people who succeeded at this like it?
Right.
Those two things are separate. Liking school and being good at school don't correlate
at all.
Being good at school, it comes straight from intentionality and effort. Liking school comes from perspective.
Right.
So it's like, I tell so many of my family members, I'm like, y'all think I'm a school dude. Y'all labeled me that early, and then that's just kind of what y'all wrote me off as. So that's why anything that I would do will be, you just a school dude. Like, you would just right. Appointed that. And it's like, I just chose to think about, okay, well, the best likelihood of me making a little bit of money is to go to school. get a degree. I can't afford that.
Right.
Everybody I know go to Delta or they getting a Pell Grant and then taking the money and then dropping out and buying a car. Like that's all I've ever seen. So I've seen the same thing everybody else know. But it's like, well, that hasn't worked out in those 14 situations I've seen. Maybe I shouldn't do that. So then it's like, okay, well, now I'm gonna have to care about school a little more. I'm gonna have to go a little harder. Right. I hate reading just like the next person. I'd rather watch a video too.
For sure.
You know, a little short recap, Spark Note.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's what everybody was doing. Then my second point, what I was saying, like things for people who kind of do that to themselves, make them excuses. It's like nobody coming to save you. Don't become a product of your environment. Like just because you're from a certain environment don't mean that you have to subject yourself to being a victim of it. Like you don't have to embody that culture just because it's presented to you. That's still ultimately a choice anyway. So even if everybody in your family is this way, they got this same attitude, they're very pessimistic, they're very mean people, they usually are down. Just because you're around it, you can choose to conform or be the outlier. Right. If you know that you want to be an outlier, you want to be a millionaire, you want to be a boss, you want to be a CEO, you want to be all of these things, you got to, when are you going to decide to be the outlier? So.
And I just, when you speak on intentionality and being that outlier, that's something that I think I've always picked up on. And I always say that I watched, my brother used to get in trouble a lot, Queen used to get in trouble a lot. And so I watched the things that he did. And I always like, okay, if this is going to give me that result, I'm not going to do that. But why is it that everyone that, I ain't going to say everyone, but a lot of people that we know choose to just conform? Why do you think that is?
I feel like it's just ingrained kind of, because it's like we have kind of deemed certain behaviors as socially acceptable, popular, or even just the desire to be accepted. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, some people, not spectators remorse, but spectators like paralysis or something. It's basically like you see something bad happening, but then you're not particularly speaking up against it or stopping it. But then you convince yourself, I'm not entertaining it either, so I'm not really a part of the issue. But it's like, but you knew that you felt the way and you chose not to act on it. So you are you're a bystander that's a part of the issue too, because you could have made a difference in it.
That's interesting though, because I never even thought about it like that. I always just the term of it, well, I don't even know what the term is, I guess, but I've always.
Yeah, it's like.
Say that, but.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people who just they maybe don't want to advocate for themselves, but they would appreciate someone advocating for them. So it's like that's the person that's going to come to you and tell you everything that's going on, but they really had no intention to kind of correct
something about it.
And it's like if you put that S on your chest as an individual and you decide to try to be there for people and take that on and take on their pain and assist them and get into where they need to go, it's like, why you just lay this on me? Like, why did you just come to me just like, oh yeah, like this going on, but I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then just looking at you like, are you gonna figure it out? I can, but damn, like it ain't go. It take the same effort for me to figure it out as it did for you.
So but shoot, with that, I notice a lot of people, like you said, that want to be like
the vocal leader.
Yeah, or first off, the people that see something and don't say something. Yeah, but wait for other people to come say something about a situation that may have happened, but the person that does say something always get demonized. And there's so many people in the background that might feel the same way as this person, but scared to speak out. And I think obviously that plays into, our history, what is it called? Like buck breaking or whatever. But why is it that when we do see something that's wrong, or we do know of something, that we don't really step out there and actually help or actually do the right thing?
Fear or disassociation would be the two, because the biggest thing that people can say is like, it's just not my business, or it's not my place. People love saying that, and it's just like, I feel like that's just like an easy way out. Some people just don't like to deal with conflict. They don't like to deal with issues. Like, we sweep anything under the rug that we can, just as a people. So I feel like disassociating, just like trying to just not think about it. Some people also just like, oh, this is going on, I'm just gonna like hide from the world for a second. Like I'm gonna just let all of this like clear out, then I'm gonna just come back around. So disassociation, just like trying to convince themselves that it ain't got nothing to do with them, or fear. Not wanting to be the spokesman of a movement that would potentially lead to a outcome. Like some people just like their comfort is more important than what's right.
Absolutely. And what makes me so like, it irritates me so much. You see everybody got these Malcolm X, Martin Luther King quotes tatted on the skin and all they embody everything that they stood for. But when it comes to actually doing it, they scared. They scared to speak up, scared to say anything that will go against whatever, you know, and that irritates me so bad. I ain't gonna lie, that irks my nerves. But at the end of the day,
some people also feel like they ain't got the voice or the platform. Like, who am I to be the person to be able to speak on this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where is my stamp of approval to be that person before somebody get on my ass and be like, who is you? Who is you to talk about this? You know what I'm saying? That's a big thing too, because you could feel like you're the biggest and brightest brain around.
For sure.
But it's like popularity is important too. So it's like somebody could just brush you off because it's like, yeah, all right,
facts.
Bro. Yeah, and then now you're just feeling like, well, why did I even say something? Type.
Yeah, you gotta be, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to be
stamped.
You
gotta be stamped.
For sure. You got to know what you're talking about before you speak too, for sure, which a lot of people don't. They speak unenlightened and speak out of ignorance.
Exactly.
And so going back to the follow through aspect of stuff, I know we just spoke on, you know, the Martins and the Malcolms and like all those people I feel like had tremendous follow through on what they had going on. They were able to like, you know, relay their messages or whatever they had to do. What do you think are some things that you need to have in order to have follow through, or what are some necessary like traits and characteristics of having follow through?
For in particular, like with the Black civil rights leaders, or just like anybody who really wanted to do anything great, is just having the undeniable, just like resilience and determination to succeed at whatever the task is. And usually that why, what I would say, the why is like, you know, whatever motivates you the best. What is your personal desire for this thing to be accomplished? Why does this mean so much to you? Because if the purpose behind it is so great, then you will continue to push forward. But if it didn't really have a great purpose with it, when you're ready to give up, it's like you will fall flat. Kind of like working out and stuff like that. It's like when you working out for health purposes or like to fix a health reason, you might be a lot more diligent than if it was just for aesthetic purposes. Right. It's like, how bad do you want that six pack when that donut in front of you? It's like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you realize that you don't want it as much as you thought you did. But you know what I'm saying? When you have a purpose, it's like, okay, well, you know, I'm diabetic. Right. You know what I'm saying? My insulin needs to be regulated. It's like, you're going to take that to the nth degree because now the purpose of it is so much, you know, more magnified. Yeah,
the stakes higher.
Exactly. So just, you know, just trying to have your why for whatever you're trying to accomplish and trying to make the stakes as high as possible. Because that's always going to push you when daily motivation isn't enough. Right. That why is going to keep you, you know what I'm saying, at an even keel of effort.
For sure.
And then I was just going to say, just kind of like understanding the competitive landscape of just like what you're trying to accomplish. If it is something that a lot of people are working to do, like when we were before PT, something else that I probably want to do that you want to do, sports journalism. It seemed like who wouldn't want to be a sports journalist?
Man, like, I swear to God.
You talk about this at the lunch table with your guys.
Man, they get heated.
Every single day. Why wouldn't I want to be Skip Bayless? Why wouldn't I want to be Stephen A. Smith?
Right.
Why wouldn't I want to be these people? But then it's like when you understand the competitive landscape of it, you realize just how much work you got to put in to beat out these people. If you want it bad enough, that's going to excite you. That's going to propel your work ethic and your determination because you like, okay, this is what it takes. I want it that bad. This is what I'm going to do.
For sure.
But maybe if you don't understand what it takes, it's like you could almost even overestimate your own effort. You think that you're really doing a lot until like you get smacked in the face, you realize somebody else is doing. Like speaking about sports, like how many times have you thought that you would just like during the off season, you just working out the coldest, you just doing the most, like I'm really trying to elevate to the next level. And then you work out with somebody who's you know, historically might be, you know, said to be better, or you know, just like, you know, their skill set is just larger than yours, and then you see the kind of work that they put in, and you like, wow, okay, I didn't even know how hard work could be until I seen the level that you were taking it, because I wasn't taking it to that. But before I seen that, my understanding was the highest I knew, so I thought that was 100. You can't, until you see what 100 is, like, how can you really determine that? It's like the glass half empty or half full. So having just great people in your circle, honestly, like, your team is gonna get you as far as possible, because it's like, who are you gonna call when you got a flat tire? Who you gonna call when your shipment come in for whatever you're doing and you can't be there to grab it? Like, what are you gonna do when things falling through the cracks, you need somebody to pick you up? It's just like, those people can serve so many purposes. It's like, there's going to be a issue. You gotta plan for the failure, plan for the issue. Like, that's gonna come regardless. It's like, what is my plan to keep this boat above the water, basically? And then the people around you will be there, and that could be a motivation. It's like, maybe you don't feel like going to go work out today, but you know he working out. You like, man, I gotta stay. I gotta stay in there. I gotta keep that competitive edge.
That was me at Oakland. Like, I knew you was gonna be in the gym, and I knew Brian was always gonna go to the gym. So I'm like, hey, I gotta be with them and not go.
Exactly. So for sure. So even using the herd mentality, that's what they call it. Because we got that bad. It's like, whatever one person think, everybody think. Somebody posts an inaccurate claim on Facebook and a couple people believe it, everybody believe it. Like, somebody, your mama, grandma coming to you like, you heard this? Like, it's a fact. Like, it's a fact. I'm like, that don't even sound like, that don't even sound right. Like, he was like, well, yeah, I seen it here. And it's just like, but the company that you keep is a big rub-off on who you end up becoming. So if you want to excel at something, you got to put yourself in the room with somebody at that. If nobody that you around has a good paying job, get around some people who got a good paying job. It's like, how can they teach you how to get a good paying job if you don't know how to get it, and they're not teaching you that skill? If you want to be around somebody who goes to great parties and is always around good company and the drinks great and the environment bougie and all that stuff, you got to be around people who doing those activities. How you ever gonna get in that room if you at this bar in Bay City? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you ever gonna make it to that status that you're trying to acquire? So it's just like, being able to have examples now in your life that you're seeking out, you know what I'm saying, that you're latching on to. The way that you said that I was there for you, Steven or Mike, he was there for me. You know what I'm saying? He had went to OU 2 years before I came. So I'm just like, man, what OU about? Like, I ain't never even heard of this. All I know is University of Michigan and State.
Facts.
And then CMU cool, because I've been up there a couple times.
You partying up there.
Can't go to SVSU because that's in my backyard.
Yeah, I was not going.
Yeah. And then the rest of them other ones just seemed like mid-major. So I'm like, and then he ended up giving me that game. And then, like, he helped me through my journey. He was like, look, this is what you got to do. Like, this is how you keep up. This is how these things operate. And then, you know what I'm saying, made my transition seamless. You know, my college career was a lot more profound than my high school career. And I had a great time in high school, but I had a great time in college. Shout out to Gallo, because he the one who said, he was like, don't be one of the people who ever have regrets. Like, this shouldn't be the best moment of your life. College shouldn't be the best moment of your life. The best moment of your life should be right now. So just always having that mentality of keep moving forward, keep pushing forward, seeing a brighter day.
For sure.
You know, it's always gone.
Yeah, they always say, I always mess up this term, but your network is your net worth. And I think that's basically what you just spoke on, just having those people around you, because if you got low network people around you, you know, that's where you gonna be with them, you know. And if they say you want to be the dumbest in the room,
everybody can't come.
Everybody that's the key for sure.
Come. If, what's his name? I'm finna sound so crazy, but if the Ark, Noah. If Noah just took everybody on the Ark, if he just disregarded what God said, and instead of taking 2, he was like, I got to take 10 of every animal because I love all these animals and they're my favorite. It's like, it wouldn't have worked out. So it's just like, it's so difficult to see when maybe somebody can't come or something can't come. Maybe it's a habit. Maybe it's an activity that you enjoy. Maybe it's a vice. everybody and everything can come, and you got to be the CEO of your life to determine what has to be cut and when, because you could even have the intention to, but maybe if you move at the wrong pace, it's like, well, the opportunity was then, and you didn't make you didn't make the necessary move at that moment. So
I always say, I came up with this phrase that the habits we build today create the lifestyle we live tomorrow. And so with that, you know, the things that you do on the everyday, the things that you pick up, the things that you keep, if you hold on to those things that are negative for you, it'll show. And
it's gonna kill you.
It literally will kill you. You won't get to where you're trying to get to. Yeah. And so I feel like that's key. Just being the CEO of your own life, like you said. Yeah,
you demote accordingly to what's needed in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that cousin that you're really close to, maybe in this season, maybe y'all not necessarily that close. And it's not necessarily say that the love has changed. It's just like, hey, what I'm trying to do right now, you know, you just don't fit into the picture. Or maybe it could be that friend that you had and they really still do the same thing that they've been doing every single day since y'all was kids. And it was cool when y'all was kids because y'all ain't had nothing better to do. But now it's like, damn, I got these responsibilities, and you kind of don't really value or respect those responsibilities as much as I need you to. And then it's like, yeah, you don't have to guilt trip yourself, or you don't have to feel, because that's like when you survivor's remorse. Me and Isaiah was talking about this in the car a couple days ago, but it's just like once you kind of do something different or you make a little room for yourself, it's like you feel bad because you feel like everybody who you went through it with, like, oh, well, they shouldn't be there either. And if I can be the difference maker in that, then I will. And it's like you just was the first person to be able to even stand on your own 2 feet. It's like, can you take a couple people jumping on your back right now? Like, you ain't even really solidified standing on your feet. Like, you ain't no 5-10 year vet. Like, you just got here.
Just got in here.
So, you know what I'm saying? Just give yourself grace and like,
that's simple.
Be a CEO.
For sure. Man, but before we get up out of here, man, I want to, you got your podcast and all that stuff. Yes, sir. Wholesome House Podcast.
Definitely tune into the Wholesome House Podcast. We just had episode 100. We had 46 guests. Episode Honey Bun Special. But yeah, we had 26 guests come out to that episode. Live studio audience. We always be making jokes about that on the Wholesome House Podcast. Shout out to IG Baddies. You know, I said we got some of them as fans of the Wholesome House. That's a running joke we got. We're going to get some shirts that eventually got it on it. And yeah, we have a lot of content. We did fashion shows in Metro Detroit. We did
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we did a Davidson back to school give back. The Hazel Park, the community Hazel Park, they had through like a Hazel Park arts festival, and we hosted that last summer. So we do a lot of community events, primarily in the Metro Detroit area, but definitely looking to expand back home.
For sure.
At some point, but yeah, definitely take us out. Hey, if you need just like a little dose of just like nonsensical humor in your day, you ain't really trying to do too much, trying to be too focused, tapped into something, you kind of just want to let something play in the background. Hey, definitely check us out.
Check it out.
And we got some game on there too, for sure. We got some good guests. So we got Pressure Clothing, Travy.
Oh, he popping up?
Yeah, we got some of them guys on there. So definitely want to get JT Money, get them too.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, definitely tap into
$100,000. For sure, man. Man, this is conversations that we have
every day.
Like, especially when we was in school together.
Welcome to the desk, Dame, bro. How school been going, man? This class, man, talking about that anatomy, bro. I ain't gonna lie, that physiology. Hey,
man, this has been the norm. So just for us to even sit here and have this conversation like this, man, I appreciate it for sure. Yeah. And I know everybody else will be able to take, some gain from what we dropped, man. So I appreciate you for coming on the pod. It's been a long time coming. This only gonna be part 1. I gotta get my dog back on here for sure, because we ain't even talk about everything that we wanted to talk about, I'm sure. So
yeah, I'm saying we get on the phone, we accidentally have a 2-hour conversation just because we got so many different things we try to get into.
For sure. So man, hope y'all enjoyed this episode. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, man. Share it to all you people that need to see it. You know what I'm saying? So, but this has been another episode of Radiant Thoughts, man, and we out.